All right, this Saturday, WWE's Money in the Bank, we're going to be having the women's Money in the Bank match take place. And in this match, honestly, we got three real rookies inside of this match. Giulia, Stephanie Vaquer, as well as Roxanne Perez are all going to be wrestling inside of this match. Of course, we had Roxanne Perez. She won the Money in the Bank match in a match over Natalya as well as Becky Lynch. In that match, I really thought that Becky Lynch was going to be the winner and she would go on to compete in the Money in the Bank. I was wrong on that one. Giulia, she earned her spot into the Money in the Bank with a win over Selena Vega as well as Charlotte Flair. That one shocked the hell out of me. I sure thought that Charlotte was going to be inside of this. She made a return. She goes to WrestleMania. She doesn't win the big one. And I thought they would find another way to sort of get her back in to the whole deal. And then last night, Stephanie Vaquer comes out. She made basically her job on Raw look so easy. But even in that match, I looked at Liv Morgan as the favorite inside of this match. So it's been really hard to sort of pick what's going on. Roxanne Perez, she had a very, very good early of 2025. She won the longest time in the WWE's Royal Rumble for the women. That, of course, doesn't really get you anything in the long run. But, I mean, like, to go into your first Royal Rumble and come out with being the longest surviving person in the match, one hell of a way for WWE to put you over, that you know what you're doing out there. And then, of course, she competes in the Elimination Chamber. I went out on a limb. I picked her as like a Cinderella story to come out of nowhere. That I was like, they're doing something with her. She didn't win. It blew up in my face, but I was just like, damn. I can honestly tell you, I talked in the last video, basically about Lyra Valkyrie. Just, there's women in the division I don't really know about. Giulia, she's not been in WWE, honestly, for a really, really long time. I don't know where I first heard about her when she came on the radar that she'd signed with WWE. I felt like I knew about her, but even now that she's on the main roster, I'm looking forward to it. But she's just not somebody that I know enough about. Stephanie Vaquer, I apologize, but I'm one of the people in the world. The one thing I know about her more than anything else is the way Booker T grunts when she does her move. When I call it, she's like pounding her butt into the ring with her face. It's just, it is a very dirty move. I mean, when it comes to women's wrestling, if somebody walked in the room when that was really going down, I think it's called the Devil's Kiss or something close to that. Like, how do you explain that? Like, if your mom walks in and Stephanie Vaquer is just ramming somebody, and you got Booker T on the outside, ooh, ooh, ooh. Crazy world. The year for Naomi really has not gone the way that I thought it was going to. I thought that we were really telling a story with her, Bianca Belair, as well as who planned the attack, and Naomi was the one who took all of the blame. And said it was me, and then Bianca got to run away acting like she knew nothing about it. And I thought once the match at WrestleMania went down, I felt that we were going to get back into that story and it was going to kind of dissolve. It seems like everything's just faded away, and Jade was in that match, and it was like sort of like oh, wink wink, like there was a time when this was a big match at WrestleMania, and now it's just kind of like a throwaway that they're in the same three-way trying to compete for Money in the Bank. But I don't know, Naomi being here was really, really a surprise. Alexa Bliss, I'll tell you this much. There's people out there that are real big Alexa Bliss fans. At one point, when she was in NXT, I liked her as a wrestler. Then she became a manager for Blake and Murphy. She got over in my mind. she didn't wrestle, honestly, for a really, really long time. And it was never really said like she has an injury. It was almost like they were just trying her out as a manager. She gets moved up to the main roster. She wins like 2 women's championships in the matter of no time at all, and becomes like one of the biggest names on the main roster. And it almost showed you that like NXT, you try some things and like they know where you're at, and when you're ready, they're gonna move you up. And Bliss, she had some time where she just got to be able to try to be a manager. Most people, when they move you into roles where you're managing or you're commentating, it's almost them like saying like your wrestling career is done. We don't need you to do that, so let's try and find you something else before we gotta send you on your way. But the big dog in this match is Rhea Ripley. When Rhea Ripley won her match to be able to say that she was going to be in the women's Money in the Bank, I thought it was a lock. I mean, she was the first person that I pointed at and was like, they're going to do this Money in the Bank thing. They're going to be playing it up. She's going to be carrying around the briefcase. And I don't think there's one person on the women's roster that Rhea Ripley does not scare. Maybe like, somebody like Charlotte Flair would like stand up to her. But I think that, Rhea Ripley comes into a room. Even some of the guys on the roster are going to be like, hey, it's time for us to find a new room. Let's move on down the way. Alexa Bliss, the big thing with her is like, is she connected to the Wyatt Six? Have they gave up on Bliss and the Wyatt Six? Why is she still carrying around the doll? I don't really know how, if she was to win this match, how this plays into what's going on. Roxanne Perez, if she brought the women's Money in the Bank to the Judgment Day's locker room, does that sort of improve on what she's doing? On Monday, I really had a plan that I thought Finn was bringing Roxanne into the Judgment Day to try and steal Dom and try to, screw over Liv Morgan for what she's done, breaking up his group in the Judgment Day. When Finn won the tag match with JD, I think that the plans have changed, because Finn gave a wink to Roxanne. It's almost like Finn's the one going after Roxanne now. I don't really know. Maybe just the 2 dudes in Judgment Day are going to have, badass chicks, and they're also going to have Raquel out there looking around for like where the hell Carlito is and why he's not bugging her anymore. Giulia would be a real big surprise, but then again, I don't really know. Naomi, I don't know. I don't really know or understand what they're doing with Naomi. I think that she has things that will add to this match to make it better, but I would think that if anybody in this match, she would be the last person that I would put money on to win this match. Not anything negative about Naomi or anything like that. Like, I just don't think that she's going to be your woman's Money in the Bank winner. And then on Monday, when Stephanie Vaquer was about to come out for her ring, Ivy Nile as well as Liv Morgan were already in the ring. And then all of a sudden, Netflix just starting the Who is Stephanie Vaquer video. And it went over everything in her past, where, who her parents are, where she was born, how she became a wrestling fan, how she got into wrestling, where she started wrestling, where she's been wrestling, what she's done, how she got here. And I was just like, that chick's winning this match. I think that that's one hell of a way to welcome somebody to the main roster. She doesn't have to cash in the first night. She doesn't have to run out, and challenge Becky Lynch or Lyra Valkyrie. But that is one thing that we kind of have to think about. We all laughed when Austin Theory cashed in to go after the United States Championship, but they have opened that door. You don't have to challenge for the Women's Championship on Raw or SmackDown. You're able to challenge for any belt along the way. I wonder if they could open up the door for Roxanne Perez, that, if she found a partner, if she had a friend. We all know that her and Giulia did not work out. But if she was to find somebody else, what if she cashed in on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez and switched the titles? It honestly kind of seems like a waste, but I think that would be a real big, wow, they're doing something with this Judgment Day finally. The story's fun. It's just it seems like it always has a lot more like what ifs, and this could be really cool. And we'll see where we get to, but 50-50. I think it honestly has to come down to Stephanie Vaquer or Rhea Ripley. And right now, I'm just feeling Stephanie Vaquer as the winner of the Money in the Bank women's match. That's the woman that I'm going to be putting my money on to win this one. Stephanie Vaquer, Money in the Bank.